been leaving.
Hey guys, it's Morgan coming back to you with another weekly Shlog. Pretty stoked putting my new hardware on the wall from this weekend. Really happy with how the Natarita race turned out. I wanted to ride better, but I ended up getting third, which is awesome. And I'm really proud of the fact that I ended up third for the 48 championship last year. So super stoked. Welcome to our little weekly shop vlog here in Western Colorado, where we show you all kinds of cool dirt bike stuff. We do race videos, we do all kinds of stuff. So if you're new here, consider subscribing because it's a lot of fun. If you're old here, thank you guys so much, and let's get after it. Alright guys, first on the lift today is, actually the first on the lift was a 350 KTM. I put a new can chain tensioner and head valve cover gasket. So I didn't film that, but I've already filmed a DIRTBIKES cam chain tensioner. Anyway, they're awesome. This one though, you can see that the tire is long overdue. He rode it flat for quite a while. It's got a tubeless system in it. I guess I'm going to have to figure out if there's something wrong with the tubeless system. But we got a new tire for it. Then coming up though is rebuilding the slave cylinder for his Rekluse, because the clutch keeps losing pressure. The oil keeps being gone, so it's ended up in the crankcase. So I figure you guys would probably like to see that. I'll get this tire changed and then we'll dive into that. Alright guys, as promised, we are going to rebuild the slave cylinder on this Husqvarna. This is an FX 450, but you know, whatever, they're all the same. It's a Rekluse slave cylinder, you can see right there. So we'll have to reset the Rekluse when we get done. So I'll show you how we do that. We just set that adjustment. So we're going to start by taking this thing off. Quick note, tech tip. Before you loosen these bolts, loosen the banjo bolt. Because once you take that off, it's really hard to twist. Anyway, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to break that loose first. Then we'll take those out, we'll get it off. We'll take it over to the bench. I'll show you how we rebuild it. Alright guys, real quick, I want to show you the proof that it was the seal that was leaking. Look right in here. You see it's coming out and going south. It's one of those things. This bike, it's not that old. It's 1960, I don't know, whatever. But sometimes in the past, they've had issues with these seals that if they get any training oil on them, they'll leak. And so it's kind of inevitable that you're going to get some training oil on it splashing around eventually, but they've fixed all that. They've got better seals and all that stuff, but I don't know if that's the case or if it just got old. But anyway, you can see that seal, no good. So now we're going to take it off and we'll take it over to the bench and we'll rebuild it. Alright guys, here we go. So, start, you really don't need very many tools. I need 4mm Allen. And then some rags and some brake cleaner. It's really about all you need because they send you with everything you need. They've got this silicone moly coat stuff that's going to go on the seals. Comes with new seals for everything. Anyway, whatever. It comes with a new piston that already has those seals on it. You can see, I'll show you that in here a bit. But that's the new O-ring that goes on the outside here. New gasket. These little O-rings go on the adjuster. So to start, what you do is you take a 4mm Allen. So we take this 4mm Allen, take that out. Now we're going to take our Allen and we're just going to push our piston if we can. There it comes. Nice and easy. There we go. And see, now you can see, guys. Let's get in here close. So see how that brown one is no good and it's all the one coming out and this one's all floppy? Obviously this was, I think, done before they updated it, because if we look at the new piston, you see there's no brown seal and everything looks a little bit different. So that's awesome. That's good to see. So that's the new one. I'm going to set this out of the way. Now we're going to take everything apart. And I'm going to start by taking these. Actually, I got to take these O-rings off. All right, so now we got everything disassembled. We're going to take this over to the parts washer, clean it, then come back, hit it with some brake cleaner, and get it really, really, really clean. All right, guys, got it all nice and clean. Everything's dry, happy. Now we got new O-rings for this, and they've done a really good job of coating this in the silicone stuff, but they send you more on purpose. You really want to make sure you get this stuff really coated well. There we go. Now, gonna run this down in here, and as with all things with O-rings, you just want to go nice and slow, and watch them, make sure an O-ring doesn't catch and try to hang up on you. Now we got our new piston. Again, it's already got some grease on it, but we're gonna take a little bit more. Come in like this. Ball bearing sticks up because that's what's going to hit on the throwout rod, and this one we're going to push in ourselves. So just got to be nice and careful. Make sure we don't let those seals, hang up and get torn. So try to go as even as possible. There we go. Oh, just like that, guys. Super simple. Put this on. Put a little bit of that grease on that too. There we go. And new gasket, ready to rock and roll. So I'm gonna go ahead and install that, guys, and then I'll show you how we adjust the free play and how we bleed it. All right, guys, got it back on there, everything tightened down, new crush washers and the whole thing. So now it's time to bleed it. And the thing is, especially when you've had it completely dry, it is way, way, way easier to push fluid from the bottom up. So you want to make sure you use the right stuff. This whole setup, even though it is a Husqvarna, it's got Magura gear on it, it does take .4. So I'm going to go fill this with .4. We're going to hook it up here, and I'll show you how we pump it up to the top and make sure it's good. All right, guys, I like to take a zip tie. So there we go. Check that thing out. You can see it just goes uphill, so all the bubbles and air are going to go this way up into here instead of working their way back into there. Now we'll drop her down. One of the keys to this, guys, is making sure you don't have any pressure on the master cylinder pushing in at all. So you got to make sure the lever is free, it's not binding at all. So, okay, we're good there. Now I got to take that cap off. All right, so we can see it's empty. We knew that before because it hasn't been working. So now, got to crack that bleeder. We're going to force fluid all the way up through. So now, we're going to push this plunger like this. Going to watch up here. Alright, so now before we super overflow it, we're gonna close that up, see how this feels. So nothing yet. It's okay though. As we do this, you can see the bubbles coming out of there, because there's gonna be a lot of air in there since that completely dry. All the little passageways, all the little nooks and crannies gonna have air in them. So we're gonna have to do this quite a few times, and what we'll do is also push it back down. So now, open this back up and push like this and see if anything happens here. It is definitely moving a little bit, so tighten that back down. Getting some more bubbles out. All right, so I'm gonna do that back and forth here a little bit. It's pretty much it. I don't feel like there's too much talking that needs to happen about this. There we go. There's some more bubbles. We're pushing some from the bottom. Oop, there's lots of bubbles there. Close that. Oh, feel it? There we go. Now we're starting to get clutch feel back. So we're gonna do that. Gonna push some down, more back up, down, back up, and make sure we got it really good. And then we'll adjust it for the Rekluse. All right, guys. So now we are going to set the Rekluse. So the way you do this is come in here with the 4mm. You go turn it out till it's nice and loose like this. We can go in till you feel it kind of get stiff. That's it touching the throwout rod. Now we're gonna go around one, and then I just do one and then 2 ticks. And I don't know if you guys can see very well, but you can see there's little tick marks on there. So you go around one and then 2 ticks. Usually that's really close, but we're gonna check it, obviously. So now, the way we check it, we're gonna check for free play gain, and then also check just kicking it in gear to make sure it doesn't die. So, go ahead and start her up. So I leave the cap off. It helps jiggle, honestly, any bubbles. Kind of helps them jiggle out. Obviously, you got to be careful not to lose too much of it. We'll refill it when we're done. So it feels pretty good. Now, what we're doing is we're going to look for free play gain. When we rev it, we want this lever to come in like an 1/8 to a 16th to an 1/8 of an inch. We rev it. We put just a little bit of pressure on it. So I got to set you guys down and check that. You see how that came in? That's about what we're looking for. Now we're going to check by just kicking her into gear. Obviously that's going to happen right now because it's off the ground, but there we go. Now we got her stopped. You can see if we drop it. There we go. It doesn't kill it. Also a good indication. I usually just rev it a little bit and watch the retire. So it's engaging right where we want it to. I think everything's good. Yeah, I like it. That's just where we want it. Now we'll put the cap back on, clean everything up, we're good to go. All right, guys, next on the lift is this 2013 300 XCW. It's here for a few things, but I want to show you guys something, the little detective work doing here. And you can tell that the last person who worked on this bike did not own a 27mm socket or ratchet to get this off. You can tell right here. Oh, the detective work here. I don't think it was the owner of this motorcycle, now at least. But this is one of those ones, guys, I don't love what we're getting ready to do here, but this gentleman does not want me to... What up?
Do it.
Both?
The CRF, Dented, see what it means.
You're kidding me. What the...
It's just money, Morgan.
So Leandra just let me know we got a locked up CRF out back. Locked up tight. It's not even a new one. And I told her to tell the gentleman that it's going to be between $2,500 and $3,500 most likely. And they just said to go for it. So we're going to take it apart and see what's that. So make sure you subscribe because that's going to be a good one. We'll be peeling that motor apart and that will be actually super interesting. But this gentleman says that someone, just before he bought this bike, just put fork seals in it. And now only one side is leaking and he only wants me to do one side. Now generally... I refuse to do that, but you know, the customer's always right? Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and do it. I've already explained that if the other one leaks, it's just gonna just go in there and do that one too. But let's dig in. Let's be more detectives and figure out why this side leaked and not the other side. So I'm going to go and take the wheel off, get the fork off, and we'll take it over to the bench and we'll take a good look. Alright guys, we're going to take it apart, and this has got the, I believe that's MX Tech's cap on it, which is kind of annoying because you can't use the normal fork cap wrench, but fortunately we have one of these little guys. So put the pins in there and we'll take that loose. Alright guys, we got them apart, and I think I figured out what's going on. See if I can see that discoloration right there. It's not bad, but I can definitely feel it. It almost feels more like a dent than anything, but it's not horrible. So I'm gonna take some emery cloth, gonna buff it like this, and it's also a little bit scratched too, so get that all smoothed out. And then the other thing is I can feel these ribs. I don't know if, yeah, you can see them there. You can feel those. So I think what we'll do for those is we'll get our normal red Scotch-Brite, and we're gonna put that crosshatch back in there. And the other thing is, when I took it apart, there was a lot of sand in the kind of where the oil had leaked. So my guess is he got into some, it looked like almost like decomposed granite. And if that was wet and it stuck to the fork at all for a little while, it would definitely mess it up. But all right, there we go. I'm gonna put it back together, guys. I've done these a million times on videos, so if you're looking for fork seal videos, just go to here on YouTube, just type in Highland Cycles, all one word, and then whatever bike and fork seals you're looking for, and you'll probably find it. So yeah, get this thing back together and move on to the next job. All right, guys, so next on the lift is this hammered CRF 250X. Look at that, that's lovely. Anyway, so she is locked up tight. Absolutely will not kick, nothing, no, anyway, whatever. So, I say we all take guesses right now. So pause this video and comment below what you think is wrong and what you think caused it. Because this could last into another Shlog before we really figure out what's wrong. The first thing, though, I'm going to do is I'm going to take the seat and tank off, and I'm going to take it back outside and pressure wash the living crap out of it, because I'm not taking it apart looking like this. It's just disgusting. But I want to get the seat and tank off so I can get all the dirt out from and underneath and in the frame and all that stuff. So make sure you comment below what you think is wrong, like what actually stopped the motor from turning, like the mechanical part that made it stop, and then also why you think that happened. So anyway, I'm gonna take this apart, clean it up, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got her coming apart here. First thing I always look at in here, looks like it's got some oil, little puddles around here, so hopefully this all looks good. The cam looks good, so that's good. That means the head is probably good. Now I went ahead and got the cam chain loose. Going to take the cam out, and then we're going to pop this head off, and when we do that, we're probably going to see some carnage. So yeah, I'm gonna get that out of the way, and I'll show you guys what I find. All right, guys, it's pretty interesting. Take a look here. You can see the piston has some scarring front and rear, and so does the cylinder. But it slid right off, and the rod moves on the crank, but the crank doesn't move at all, and the connecting rod, big end bearing, is junk. So interesting. The cylinder head looks okay. Valves actually look all right. We're gonna do new valves anyway, but whatever. So I think we're gonna have to find out. I'm gonna take this side cover off here, this engine side cover off here, put a a socket on the end of the crank, and see if we can roll it one way or the other and see what's going on. Looks like maybe just the main bearings and the crank gave up. Let's see how much oil comes out of the motor section and then out of the tranny section, and we'll see. My guess is it pumped all that oil into the tranny, but for some reason the head and the top end stayed okay, which normally it's the other way around. So anyway, gonna start taking this thing apart. We'll dive in here. I'll bring you guys back in here in just a second. All right, guys, take a look here. It's not pretty. That's bearing material. That's aluminum. It's not supposed to. There we go. Not supposed to be there. So now let's grab a 17. Put it on there. See if we can't get her to. Oh, there she goes. All right. I'm gonna set you guys down and see what we can find. Yeah, the older one. Yeah. All right, guys. So it only turns around about 355 degrees. Seems like every time the big end of the connecting rod gets down low, it stops. So that means probably there's a piece of bearing or something inside there. So it's an interesting one, guys, because plenty of oil came out of the right side, or excuse me, the motor side of the engine. So I don't think it was, I don't think it was the fact that it pumped the oil to one side. That's my first guess, is that it pumped the oil from the engine side into the transmission side and locked everything up. I don't think that's what happened. I think, honestly, the crank just gave out. I have seen that a fair amount on these 250s because they just run, guys, it's a 250F, so guys, just super high RPM for a long time, and eventually they just wear out, and this thing probably has 1 million hours on it. So anyway, there we go. Make sure you subscribe because we'll be rebuilding this thing, the whole deal. I'll be filming all of it. So, yeah. Now we gotta wait for parts. Next on the lift are these forks. Look like they're off of an old Yamaha. I forget what they are. It doesn't matter. But the gentleman dropped them off, said that someone had just done the seals and stuff, but put the wrong amount of oil in it. I don't know how he knows that. I also don't know if it wasn't him that did it. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So I have been pushing on them and they don't feel right. So I'm going to open them up and see what we find. This could be pretty interesting. Well, oh boy, they did put way too much oil. Oh my gosh, guys, I did find it out. Look, there is, holy crap, there's a lot of oil in here. So yeah, they screwed that up. So we gotta get this. There's oil everywhere. You guys can't see it. Ian. All right, guys. So you see, so it's not fully extended, but it's pretty far extended. And the oil is right there. So if I go down like that, you can see, and this is supposed to be 110 millimeters from the top. If this is fully collapsed, there's gotta be a full liter of oil in this thing. So I'm gonna dump it out, start over. We'll get the right amount of oil in here. That is phenomenal. All right, guys, next on the lift is this lovely little KX65 that needs a clutch. It's a pretty simple job, and I figured I'll bring you guys in on it. I'm not sure what year it is, but all the KX65s are the same. After they switched from KX60 to 65, they're pretty much all the same. They're actually, quick little tidbit of information. There is a difference in the crankshaft on from like 02 to 03 or 03 to 04, I forget, that has bit me before. Because everything is exactly the same. The dimensions are all exactly the same, but the placement of the Woodruff key and the way that you attach the gear to the right side are different, and it may absolutely ruin your day if you put the wrong one in. So anyway, and I happen to know from very, 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 very personal experience. So yeah, let's get this thing apart. Let's put a clutch in it. Over here, it's just a different kind of push style. So instead of having this pressure plate come out, it pushes in and disengages it this way. So it's just a funky way of doing it. But yeah, so we're gonna pull this thing apart, take a look at these clutch plates. and then make sure everything looks good, and then we'll put it all back together. All right, guys, so I've been looking at this thing. I don't have a clutch cover gasket, so I'm really kind of stymied on that. But beyond that, the clutch that the gentleman brought in was the clutch we ordered for him over a year ago, and it was definitely the wrong clutch. So I'm not sure if we messed that up or he messed it up. I'm sure it was us, because he knows he has a KX65 and not a CR250. So I don't know what happened there. Probably fat fingered some numbers. But anyway, more importantly, I've disassembled the clutch, and it looks perfect. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the clutch. It might have just been an adjustment, but we got to wait for a gasket. Then we'll put this thing back together and test it. But I think it's going to be just fine. I don't know. Anyway, this bike's going to be for sale. So if anybody here watching is interested in a nice KX65, shoot me an email, morgan@highland-cycles.com. Get in touch. I mean, obviously it's been used, it's been crashed, it's kind of beat up, whatever, but the motor's in great shape. The clutch will be in great shape. Tires are okay, all that good stuff. But guys, another awesome thing. I'm very excited. Just showed up. We are now the proud owners of an actual Rabiconda tire changer. I've been using the Moose version of this. It's just a copy of this thing now for years. And while it's been good, it's getting really worn out and really sloppy and moving all over the place. So I decided to go ahead, get an actual Rabiconda, and also become a Rabiconda dealer. So we actually now have them in stock here. If you guys are interested, we can either ship you one or you can come down and pick one up. They are not inexpensive. I think the retail on the changer is $450, and then $80 for the 5 tire irons. So it's a big investment. But if you have maybe a motorcycle club or a big group of friends that all runs Mooses, maybe you guys chip in, get one. Yeah, they're pretty sweet. So I am actually going to change a tire on it. I changed one before just to kind of make sure everything was good, everything's put together, but I am now getting ready to film an honest review of it. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe. It's not going to be here on the Shlog. I'm going to change my tire. Going to put a brand new Moose into a brand new tire and see how that goes. So, all right, guys, that's actually going to be the end of this week's Shlog. I had a couple other things to do. I filmed the tire change video with the new Rabiconda, so make sure you check that out here on YouTube's. Yeah, anyway, it's pretty cool. I'm not going to give you a spoiler alert, won't let you know how I feel about it, but definitely check that thing out. If you guys are interested, make sure you subscribe, because I will be getting to this next week. I will be finishing the Cero up next week. I didn't even talk about that this week. Actually, pretty interesting, and some funny stuff went on. So make sure you guys, like I said, subscribe, hit the little notification bell that looks just like this, so that you know when we post new videos. It really does make a big difference, and I really appreciate it. You guys know what I'm going to say now. I really hope that you get out and spread the gospel of two wheels, and I desperately hope that what we're doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you guys to work on and get out and ride your dirt bikes!